Let's get more now on our top story. That's the high-speed 2 rail line and its extension from beyond Birmingham. Phase 1 goes to Birmingham, and the extension then goes Y-shaped. One line heading off to Manchester by Manchester Airport. The other branch terminates initially at Leeds, after passing through new stations in the East Midlands and at Sheffield Meadow Hall. Well, let's talk to Christian Wolmar, the transport commentator, about it all. I suppose the first question, Christian, is given the scale of the objections to this and the initial phase of High Speed 2, is will it really be built?
Well, obviously it's subject to an awful lot of controversy, and really it's a guess. I mean, my view on it has been that it has about a 50% chance of seeing the light of day. You know, we're talking of a 20-year time span here. The full network you've just shown on the map won't be completed until 2033.
I mean, and there's so many assumptions, aren't they, in terms of demand for this type of travel. I mean, clearly, if it was here now, if it was the right price, people would use it. But things can change, and I'm thinking technologically an awful lot in 20 years.
Well, you made a very good point there about at the right price. I mean, there's so many unknowns about this. You know, will there be premium pricing, which I'm pretty sure it will cost more to go on this line than on conventional lines? How much will we be using the internet? You know, will Wi-Fi actually reduce the amount of travel that business people want to do? You know, what will the price of oil be? What will the price of the electricity to power these trains be, and so on. Now, my view is that you cannot extrapolate the current increase in rail use, which has been running at 3 or 4% a year for the last nearly 15 years, into the future, and that eventually this will tail off. There's a limit to just how much we want to travel. So I'm slightly sceptical about these demand forecasts.
OK, there's also the issue, aren't there, the issue right now of connectivity, pretty awful word, though, about where the stations will be sited and things like that, and will it serve Heathrow?
Well, there's a big emphasis, interesting enough, on connectivity in Manchester and Leeds. In both those places, they're going to build new stations or parts of stations next to existing ones. But where that becomes more problematic are in some of the places it's going through, like Sheffield, where the station will be at Meadow Hall. Now, those people who know Sheffield will know that, you know, that's a bit out of town. There's a tram that links the station, but nevertheless not convenient. So, and the same goes for this station at Totton, which is near Nottingham. It'll take 20 minutes on a tram to get into the centre of Nottingham. Maybe people will just take the old-fashioned train from St Pancras to Nottingham rather than the hassle of having to change just to save ultimately a few minutes. Those questions and those details are vital in terms of how many people will be attracted onto the line.
And a lot of money being ploughed into it. Could it possibly pay for itself?
No. I mean, railways essentially don't pay for themselves, but in a way that's the wrong way of looking at it. You know, if the overall benefits of this to society are such that it's worthwhile, then it's worth putting taxpayers' money in. For example, you know, if it really did clear quite a lot of people off the motorways, you know, then everybody who stays on the motorways gets a bit of benefit from the lack of congestion. So, you know, it can be justified in those terms. But, you know, £33 billion, that really is a very major project.
Yeah, I mean, and you know more about this than most people, Christian. I mean, people are asking, well, you know, we've got a fairly well-developed rail network. It may be a bit rackety in places, but couldn't you spend a fraction of that in upgrading the existing lines, the existing rolling stock, extending stations, and get things done more quickly without all this disruption?
Well, overall, that's probably my view, that it's not worthwhile. The government's argument is that certainly between London and Birmingham, there's a lack of capacity. But interesting enough, for the further bits of this, it's not about capacity. It's saying, look, you can get to Manchester in an hour and 8 minutes on this new train. That means you could almost commute there, although the price would probably be prohibitive. But certainly, people wanting to do business in Manchester Manchester will be able to get up there much quicker. Now, the problem with that argument is that it can actually attract a lot of the main business down to London, because people will say, well, it's so easy to get to London from everywhere, why bother having an office in Manchester or Leeds or whatever? And that argument is in fact reinforced by some academic studies which have shown that's been the effect in Europe and Asia where high-speed lines have been built.
That's an interesting point, of course. Yes, two-way street, so to speak. Well, two-way railway line. Christian, thank you very much indeed for your views there, Christian Wolmar.